No, I gave it to
Before we start our meeting tonight, I would like to ask our newspaper editor, Tim Croft, if he would lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd like to ask the Reverend Charles Gaddis to say a prayer for us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be gracious, Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for how you bless us, God. We thank you how you bless this country, God. We thank you how you bless us to assemble here tonight, God. And God, we ask you to just give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, God. Bless everyone here, God. We know, God, we can't do nothing without you, God. Lord, we do love you, we do praise you, Lord. And Lord, we just continue to ask you to continue to bless this country around us, Lord. And Lord, and bless our citizens of Gulf County. Lord, we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray.
I now call this meeting of the PSJ City Commission to order. First on the agenda, we have the regular commission meeting from 11/7/17. Hope everybody's had a chance to look over those. If there's any corrections, please let us know. Someone give me a motion to approve. So moved. Have a motion from Commissioner Ashbrook, second by Commissioner Lizette. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Bill, you still here?
He asked us to table the line item for the PSJRA for the next meeting, so
All right. That's
nothing else to report.
okay. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney.
Yes, Mayor, I have two things on the agenda this evening. I'd like to do them in reverse order than what they are on the agenda. The first matter is the second reading for ordinance 554, which deals with parcel number 04939-00R, which is also known as 208 7th Street. It deals with changing the land use requirements for that parcel of property. I'd like to have you call for a public hearing, then you guys vote for a second reading, and then we'll have an adoption.
All right. Anyone from the public wish to address this ordinance tonight? Anyone? All right.
So motion.
Second. We got a motion from Commissioner Lowry, got a second Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Ordinance number 544, an ordinance of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida, amending the City of Port St. Joe land development regulations, providing for additional land uses in certain areas of the city, providing for density, setbacks, and lot coverage, providing for repeal of all ordinance or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Motion to adopt.
All right, got a motion from Commissioner Ashbrook.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Lowry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
The second item on the agenda, Mayor, is I've been approached by a few of the commissioners with regards to the possibility of obtaining an Attorney General opinion regarding the circumstances with Commissioner Thursby. In order to do that, I would need a vote of the board to allow me to do that, and I'm bringing it in front of you this evening.
And what we're actually doing is asking the Attorney General's opinion on how our charter reads.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Have a motion from anyone on this?
I'd put that in a motion. We don't, Commissioner Thursby hadn't been convicted as of yet. We don't have any idea the way it's going to go, and I'd like clarification.
I'd second for discussion.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner Lowry and a second for discussion from Commissioner Ashbrook.
We got legal representation. What is your opinion, Mr. Attorney, on what the charter said?
Looking at the charter, it's fairly straightforward for what it says. The commissioner, if convicted of a crime, shall forfeit his office. I have found nothing in my research that would say that we would go against that at this particular time. Nothing that says that what the charter says is wrong or shouldn't be interpreted as for what it says. That's what, as of right now, that's where I'm at.
My only discussion point was, as of now, there is no violation of our charter, but I'm not opposed to getting an Attorney General's opinion with William Thursby's blessing on that. I mean, if that's what he wishes, I'm all for getting an opinion on it. if you're okay with it.
The only reason I would look for the opinion is I do feel that it's very vague and ambiguous. A crime, what is a crime? You go out there and speed and have a speeding ticket, get convicted, that's a crime. You can go spit on the sidewalk in the city of Port St. Joe, that's a crime. You can catch a redfish out of season, that's a crime. So to me, it's very vague. I would hope that I would not do something that's misjudged the length of a redfish and get convicted for having a redfish undersized. And then next thing you know, I have lost my position on this board because of that. So that's where I say it's very vague. And I think we need an interpretation from the state attorney.
If that's
It's
what,
my personal opinion, it's just an opinion.
if that's what the board wishes me to do, that's what I will do.
A second stance.
All right.
Go ahead.
First, I don't have, I don't really have a problem with it. We're gonna need to make sure that it's right, I guess. The citizens vote on the charter. And so, we represent these folks. And I think it's important we get it right. But we got to remember what the charter's all about. It's not, all we do is put it out to the citizens, and they vote. And so,
Most of the people who voted for it probably don't live in it today.
oh, well,
I think it's from
yeah,
1932.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of things have changed since 1932 to 2000.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in there that we would think, and there are a lot of state laws also that are antiquated, but anyway.
I think, all we're doing is asking for an opinion.
I agree.
So I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Joe, go ahead.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Do you have anything else?
That's all I have this evening.
Okay. All right. The Jim.
Yes, sir. The first time we had an old business was the 19th Street Bridge. We've discussed it a few times as to what our options are for the bridge. I believe Commissioner Lowry brought it up for discussion at the last meeting, so I'll turn it over to Commissioner Lowry.
I don't have anything as of now, right now. It's something we'll probably have to put in the budget next year. I think I'd like to see it to where we could utilize it as golf cart crossing, but it looks like it's going to be impossible as far as a budget standpoint. But if we could eventually get some, pedestrian crossing across that bridge again, I think the community would appreciate that. That's all I got on that.
I've had some people approach me about it, that they wish we'd put it back up, so.
We just got to find the money. at
Find
some
a way
point.
in the money.
Is that something that we would have to be a steel structure and concrete and all that? Or is that something that maybe we can just build like a wooden bridge across that, we have it also? I mean, I just worry about the children and
I think, John, did you say you
Hey,
could do
Clay,
it?
did you look at it? Clay?
Yeah, I did, sir. Yeah, actually, Clay had sent me the plans off the bridge that was built at 16th Street, so we took that and just redeveloped it into making it fit at the end of Palm. So what we're looking at budgetarily speaking is about $3,500 in lumber and $4,000 to $5,000 for timber piles to be bought and driven. So you're in that $8,500 to $10,000 range.
Is that
And
counting labor?
we would build it.
That's counting labor. The city would build it.
Yes, sir.
Guys, I guess just think about that.
it's just right there close to the schoolhouse, and I would be
That was for-
concerned about the safety of the children coming back and forth.
I'm sorry, that was for a golf cart.
That was.
That was golf
Yes, sir.
cart
Yes,
coach?
sir.
Yeah, I didn't know. That's nice.
Well, that's something we can keep it on the agenda and.
Think about that next-
Money some way to do it.
Yeah, next meeting, next month.
Keep it on to the next meeting and then let's make a decision on what we can do. Because there's a lot of people asking me about it. They'd love to go crossing.
Appreciate it, John.
Thanks.
The next item we have is directly to the Centennial Building Train. We also had a brief discussion on it as to about some rehab. Turn it over to Commissioner Zed on it.
Commissioner, I'll tell you real quick, I did have a talk with Tommy Knox, and he said he is more than happy to do that. He asked me to go show him what was damaged, and I told him that he needed to get up with you for that. But he also suggested that we're on iron.
Of course, the train's a potential liability, I brought that up last meeting.
Right.
And on closer inspection, it's in a lot worse shape than I thought it was. It's really in bad shape. I'm not sure what the welding department can do, or how much, it's gonna take a lot of money to rehab it, not only to get it rehabbed, then patched up, then we gotta paint it. So we gotta make some hard decisions. Either we, fence it off and let it stay where it is, we farm it out and see if an entity would like to have it. I hate to say that, but it's going to be a problem, not only for our budget, but possible liability issues, I'm afraid. So we've got to make some hard decisions that there's not, folks aren't going to be happy, but it's rusting out before our eyes, and I'm not sure we've got enough money to get it where it needs to be to keep it. So that being said, I want to keep it on the budget, and I encourage everyone here to go by, walk on it, under it, around it, look real close. I mean, you flick rust off of it with your finger. We got to make some decisions, so just think about it. That's it.
Okay, the next item we have is in reference to Core Park Rentals. Just to remind everybody, we do have a workshop scheduled for next week, 12/12 at noon, to review our options in the park. And the last item we have under old business is the replacement of water meters. We had a workshop a few weeks ago to try to look at our options. We've been in contact with the vendors, trying to work the numbers the best we can. We've got some numbers for you tonight that would include replacing all the meters within the city limits. Right now, we currently have about $289,000, we believe, in the budget for this year that we've allocated. With these numbers, that would be going back to your same vendor that you have the current meters with for about $280,000 for your consideration tonight.
We, I haven't been to the last couple of meetings, have we put that out for an RFP or?
We haven't, Commissioner, because right now what we've been working with was our current vendor that we have. They're a sole source at this point because it's the master meter.
What does staff recommend?
Is there any other, John, I guess this would go to you, is there anybody else that services these same type meters?
Not within the parameters we're talking about, as it relates to using, some of the existing bodies, with the newer register. No, it's sole source at the master.
Well, I commend y'all for working it below budget, and I'll make a motion we go forth and let's get it started.
I'll second
We have a
that.
motion from Commissioner Brazil. We have a second.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
This would end up being, just so the board knows, a mid to late January project as far as the kickoff.
And this will cover city proper, which is about half your customers. Okay, the next item on the new business, the first item we have tonight is Mr. Bruce Ballister's here tonight. He had a meeting earlier today with the CATF committee, and he's here tonight to talk to you about the CDBG public hearing.
Okay, this is an advertised first public hearing for the next CDBG project. In that sense, that advertisement doesn't name a particular project. It lists the kinds of things that projects can be funded, the kinds of projects can be funded with CDBG, and that there is an opportunity. And it's an opportunity for the public to have any input they might have if they think there's something they'd like CDBG money attached to. And it's also an opportunity for me to report what the results of the CATF were. So I'll go ahead and do that. We explained to the CATF members that at this stage of the game, a neighborhood grant is usually open to a number of different kinds of projects, whether they be community facilities or streets or drainage or sewer or water, whatever. And that they're free to propose any ideas that they might have had that would fit the molds for a CDBG project, and that 51% of beneficiaries have to be low to moderate income, et cetera. And there were not any other suggestions. We then spoke with the city engineer about the status of where we had left off with sewer. We're going to both have to go back into record because it was quite a few years ago. It's beyond the length of time that records have to be kept, and in lots of different places those records may have disappeared. But we're going to look back in our own files, our electronic files, to see if we have records of where we stopped, and probably Rush will do the same. So we can determine, okay, where do we need to go next and where do the roads need. Mr. Anderson indicated that there are numerous problems with the sanitary sewers in Avenue B and C that are maintenance issues. And that's a good place to start looking to see if those haven't been corrected yet. Do that and pick a service area. But again, this is an opportunity for anybody that's here to step forward and say, we would really like to consider project X instead. So, open to the floor.
And also, Bruce, this has to be a blighted area or
It just has to
low
have
income area.
an area in which 51% of the people that are going to receive the benefit of the replacement service are low to moderate income families.
Okay.
So there are numerous neighborhoods that would not qualify for CDBG funding. And it is a scored application in that the higher degree of low to moderate income families and the degree to which they are low income adds extra points. So that is a good fit for this kind of a project. That area is a good fit for this kind of a project or this funding source. The current cycle that's open will close, they said in our last meeting, about April or May. But again, there's a rule change at DEO. We don't know exactly when that next window will open. So it could be April, May, it could be May, June, it could be June, July. They don't know. But we want to be positioned so that if at all possible, we've got the area selected, I can do the surveys, Dewberry can do the plans and specs and be ready to proceed. So that, we get those extra 100 points.
Right.
But it should be open to the floor for anybody that might have a project that they thought could be beneficial.
Anyone in the audience tonight have a project you want to bring up? With the certain rules that he said we have to go by, you can only pick certain areas. I don't really know if there's another area in the city limits that would qualify, to be honest with you. I don't think that there is one.
Does it have to be tonight that we make that?
This is the opportunity of public hearing,
Northwest St. Joe, all of it qualified for it. Every bit of it.
Well, I know, I'm talking about that area is one to qualify.
Dallas Street being one of them, I know, qualified for it.
Yes.
Dallas Street,
that whole
That whole
area.
section qualifies. That's what I'm trying to get across. That whole section qualifies. It's the only one that's ever qualified
right,
that I know of
Yes.
for CDBG grants.
right,
Yes.
So yeah, that whole area,
yes.
qualifies. And sewer, we really need some sewer problems fixed over there, like they were saying on B and C. I think we got the worst problem. We started doing sewer in the area and we quit and went to something else, and now it's time to get back to it, I think.
I do too.
With the new comprehensive plan and the planning for Port St. Joe, I think we need to keep our focus on infrastructure right now.
Yeah.
They're going to need good infrastructure to increase density if that's the plan.
If it's okay, then I would, we have that conclusion. We have a meeting next week maybe with John and the engineer and try to pinpoint what we can do as a service area.
I'll get back into the business.
I need action from the board.
All right, we need a motion to do that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
What's the motion for?
I'll make the motion that the project is to continue improvements on infrastructure, preferably sewer.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner Ashbrook, a second Commissioner Lowry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Likewise, no. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank very much.
Thank you. Appreciate everything you do for us.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, the next item we have is a reference to RFQ 2017-02 for professional planning services. I remember a couple months back, we did go out for RFQ for planning services. Ms. Marina Pennington did retire at the end of November, so we're in need of a planner on a contractual basis, not something we need every day. We did receive one in for your review from Stan Tech. And I did have a conversation with Mr. Raymond Greer. He's done a lot of planning there. You can see his resume from areas. What his suggestion was, we do it by task order. If you don't need him, there's no fees associated with it. But if you got him on retainage on there, you could reach out to him and he can get you a task order for you to approve. Prime example will be the comprehensive plan amendment that we've got to do in the spring. That's the one thing that does come to mind right now, that we would need somebody of his caliber to help out with. So.
Right.
Jim, what is the retainer fee?
There's not a retainer fee. So basically, you would just have him on contractual services, and then the first thing we do that I'd say would be bring you back a proposal for the comprehensive plan amendment, bring that to you on there. So basically, tonight what you would need to do is decide, okay, are you going to do it on a yearly basis? That would be my recommendation. Do it on a year-to-year basis on there. Have your city attorney draft one up for you, and with your approval, then we'll have him on contractual services to reach out to him for projects.
Jim, this is the same type of agreement we had with Ms. Pennington?
Yes, sir. We had a yearly basis.
Price-wise, will be about the same money, is it?
I think so. He has different levels. He actually has a larger firm than one person, so
Right.
if you had a low-level project, it may be somebody with $100, $120 an hour. You know, Mr. Greer is going to be up probably in the $160, $180 range because he's a senior guy. So depending on what you need, he would tailor it. But basically what you would do is just do a task order. Like with this comprehensive plan, what we'll do is we'll tell him, hey, look, this is what we got, this is what we need, and bring it back to you for your approval for your
Do you feel the 20,000 that we budgeted is going to handle that plan? I mean, how much work goes into that comprehensive plan amendment?
A lot of Marina's already done. The last 3 months, staff has been working with her. We've met the last 2 months in a row trying to get most of that put together. So the framework's put together. What you don't know is in the next couple of years is how much development's going to take place. That's the $1 million question. If you don't have large-scale development, you don't need a senior planner. Most of the stuff you can handle at the lower level. But when you start getting into multifamilies and commercial developments, Mr. Lowry, we don't know. We don't know
We know
what's
that's coming.
Yeah.
I
When?
Do you feel the 20,000 we budgeted this year will handle that?
Yes, I believe that.
Then I'll make a motion, as you proposed, that we go an annual contract with Centec, yes.
All right. So, motion from Commissioner Espinola, do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Brazil. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right.
All right, the next item is we just need to do some planning on the Northwest Florida Water Management District, who has been very good to the city. Has another opening in the spring for funding request on there. So at this point, we need to start doing some planning. A couple of things to be thinking about is about 2 years ago, Department of Economic Opportunity gave us money to engineer downtown for water lines, sewer lines. That's a project we've not had the funding to do. Some other things to consider, Long Avenue, we're working on that, but we've kind of leaned towards, we're hoping that the legislator can help us out with that one. And any other things. So as far as stormwater master plan, that's something else we've talked about. But we just need to start doing some planning and putting something together. It's not due until the spring.
I'd like to see us, we've just about got our water situation completed all over town, except the downtown area. I'd like to see us replace the water downtown. That way we see some digging going on and not planning. And so I would like to make a recommendation, we go for that for whatever amount you think we can squeeze out of them. $500,000.
We can try. We haven't asked for that much money, Commissioner Bennett, but normally we've been in the project range of $100,000 to $200,000 what we've been successful with. We can try.
I recommend we go after 250 and see where we get, how much we get. I know it's contingent on how many communities apply for apply for money, it's just one pot of money, they got to divvy it up, but it's a worthwhile project, I think we could squeeze it out of.
Is that an engineered shovel-ready project?
It has been injured, we need to dust it off, I need to get with Mr. Grantland and
It's-
Mr. Smallwood. We
You
need to
remember
put,
what-
we need to put pen to paper at this
Remember what the
point.
price tag was on it when we did that?
We didn't get that far, we just had it engineered, but I don't know that we got a,
We didn't, we actually did half of that this current year, 71 and 98.
Okay.
That was part of phase 3. Second half of that's the downtown area of Bulldale.
I just don't want
We
to ask.
never estimated that out.
We don't want to ask for more than we need and get ourselves thrown out.
why don't we go back at the staff level and get you some pretty accurate numbers on there? We've got
I
time
would like
there,
that.
we got a
That'd be great.
direction from y'all to move forward on it, that way we can bring it back to you.
Maybe have a workshop on that.
We'll work on it. Let's see, and the last item I have tonight is the Port City Trail Grant. We did have a meeting the other day with Leanne at the county. The county is moving forward with the project. The big hurdle that we've got is going to be the lighting, the type of lighting that we put together on the grant. The grant is, I think it was $200,000, I believe it was 200. Half of that pretty much has to be for trail improvements. You have several elements. The other part is going to be lighting. You can put any amount of money you want to in lighting, depending on what you do. And you also got to think about the monthly rental fee that we're going to have to pay. So we really need to get some thought into the type of lighting, how much lighting we need, how much we want to pay for it up front, and how much it's going to be at the end of the day, the city may or may not have for a light bill.
And I'm on there next for solar lighting. And I actually had intended on a presentation today, but they had a family emergency and could not make it. So what I've done is I put them in contact with Mr. Smallwood. And so I just like him to explore those options and look at long-term cost. Is it better to rent every month from Duke, or is it better to go ahead and outright buy and see how long it lasts? So that's all that I had.
I agree with you. Dave, we get charged for every pole they put in the ground, and it gets costly, and it's forever. And I'd like to see us figure out a way to bypass it.
That is Jim?
Mayor, the only thing I can think about is looking at holiday schedule. We have a meeting on the 19th scheduled. We do have an item that we will have to address in reference to a land use change for 19th Street. You may have seen the ad in the paper for 19th Street, request to go from R1 to R3. 9th Street, I'm sorry, excuse me. It is actually going to be at the planning board level next week, and then it's scheduled to come to you on the 19th. So, but one thing you may want to think about too is your January meeting is right after New Year's Day. So I don't know what the board feels as far as you're going to have a bunch of holiday periods, or if you still want to have that meeting, or what's the wish of the board.
How about the 19th? Is everybody gonna be in town, or we need to cancel that one? Huh?
I'm here.
You here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Let's do it.
You here? Well, we'll just go ahead and have our 19th meeting, and then I would say let's do away with the January 2nd meeting.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
So that's what we'll do. We'll meet on the 19th, but then we won't have a meeting on the 2nd. That's okay with everybody?
That's fine.
That's all I have.
All right, Public Works, John.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Holiday lighting, that's on the first item, and all I really wanted to do is ask the board if you guys would be thinking about the areas. A few weeks ago, you instructed me to get some stuff together, after the holiday season to present back to the board. But individually, if you don't mind, if you have time to reach out to me, kind of let me hear what your thoughts are and your ideas to help me better put that together for y'all. Otherwise, it's just kind of on me, and I want to make sure everyone has their input as to, if there's areas in particular you're looking at.
Are we talking about to buy extra equipment, put lighting up, John? I wouldn't.
Well, I think it could end up including equipment, the areas themselves, what the board might be looking at wanting to do, because if you remember, this is going to include Duke area, and those prices, the larger that area gets, the more expensive it's going to be. So, that's just, I want everyone's, input as to what they're thinking, so I can, put this thing together properly.
Jim, you and I discussed on several occasions to budget some money for every year for some new Christmas ornaments, lighting, that type of stuff. Were we able to keep that in the budget
We
this
poured it
year?
out this year, if I remember correctly. But I think what we need to do is, I think John's correct, what we need to do is, okay, do we want to say from First Street to Fifth Street this year? And what we can do is, if we can come to consensus of what exactly we want to do, look at Mexico Beach. Mexico Beach, I rode through the other night, and they put a bunch of new lights on the poles there. Indications are those may be the ones that are attached to the pole are between $500 and $1,000 a piece to kind of give you an idea of what you're looking at. So if you caught it $500 a piece, figure out how many you want. Do you want to tackle a certain area of town and go ahead and get new lights on those and deal with Duke Energy?
I do think we all need to talk about it, but I would say that I can remember last year, a lady coming to us, Northport, St. Joe, a lot of the places where they used to have lighting doesn't have any electricity anymore, any power, John. I think that, everyone's deserving of a little bit of Christmas spirit. I'd like to see what it would take to get at least some receptacles and some power ran in Northport, St. Joe to have that
Well,
done.
and right, that's why I'd ask the board individually, if you guys, have a few minutes, just call me, kind of give me your thoughts, so I can put this thing together that, to make sure it's inclusive of everything you guys want.
Okay, thank you.
All right. What else you got, John?
The second item, Mr. Mayor, is the odor scrubber, and this is in reference to St. Joe Beach. We have two lift stations there, one on Atlantic and Americas in particular. We've had several complaints over the years as to the odor from that station, and then the quote you guys have in front of you all is for a scrubbing unit that would take care of that issue. So we wanted to bring it to the board to see if there was any thoughts or recommendations, ideas, or how the board wanted to proceed forward with this.
Is this a budget item? We budgeted for it?
It's not budgeted per se. It could be inclusive of the sewer department itself as far as line item in
We can get the
there.
money.
We have the money there if it's something the board wants to move forward on
Just for one lift station?
for one lift station.
Do we have these installed on any other lift stations?
We have a small, and I say super small version installed on 16th Street that we put in several years ago. So this is just obviously a larger version of that. And it's designed and built based on, the amount of odor that's in that station.
So we're pretty confident that.
I'm 100% confident of the board.
Okay.
My only concern, guys, how many lift stations do we have?
We have 54.
Take that times $24,000.
Very good point, but not all of them have the issues that certain other ones have.
Not all of them stink, is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. Yeah.
The question I have, John, is not the initial cost, but the continuing cost
Yes.
for just the chemicals alone. I see this is got a 6-year warranty, but the chemicals are about $8,200.
That's correct.
Each year?
We don't know if those will last a year or how long they last.
Right now, given the numbers in the station, we estimate that, if we control that properly, we could be looking at 3 to 5 years
For the initial,
for the media life itself.
so it could be costly just for.
There'll be a
ongoing-
reoccurring cost. I think
Correct.
that needs to be understood.
Every 3 to 5 years?
Every 3 to 5 years. There will be a reoccurring.
If it lasts that long.
If it lasts that
No.
long. Now, again, that's where we have it estimated at, and until you do it, it's an unknown.
Mhm.
So a question from the
Yeah, I
audience?
just had a question. Have they been tested to find out where the odor coming from? What the odor is?
It's hydrogen sulfide. It's from the sewer.
That was what I didn't-
Yeah, sure.
I didn't understand.
Sure.
All right, so if we do this every 3 to 4 years, we're gonna spend another $8,000 to get the charcoal return back on
Probably about $2,000
every year.
2 to 3 if it lasts us 3 years.
So-
3,000.
You may have to come up front if you're way in the back, Charles.
Okay.
So everybody can hear you. Come on up.
Charles Gethers, 118 Liberty Street. Now, this is gonna be probably a recurring situation because once you do it in one neighborhood, then you're gonna have it in every neighborhood. Because like I said, where we stay, there within 2 blocks. I think it's 2 lift stations in that area. And when the wind get it blowing, yes, sir, but, you know, we just take it as that's part of the process of having a lift station. So, but I think every community probably have lift stations in the area can have the same complaint. So,
And
That was
and that's-
exactly-
that is true, but it's also, Charles, it's based on the amount, at least atmospherically and inside the station, that you can record and see. Some stations typically, 50, parts per million, some as high as 800. So it begins to become a big problem when there's 600 to 800. From an odor perspective, from an equipment perspective, it attacks concrete, steel, stainless, wood, at high levels.
and let me say this, because I'm not debating what you're saying, I'm just saying that when you start looking at this situation, it's gonna be a recurrent situation because of the fact, and like I said, John, you know better than I do, that between Liberty Street and just say to Garrison, there's what, 2 lift stations right in that area?
There's 2.
And, like I said, when the wind blows, I'm staying on Liberty Street. Yeah, you definitely know there's a lift station in the area. But like I said, I'm looking at here, like I said, this is gonna be a recurring situation for the citizen. And like you said, when you start looking at that kind of money, it's gonna.
And I think the basis on that is your parts per million and actually monitor inside the station would be my recommendation to the board, depending on the level.
So is there some kind of test that we can do to say, no, you don't qualify for one of these?
We have the equipment to do that, and it's not saying no, we don't qualify, but I think it has to meet a certain threshold.
Until you hit a certain parts per million, we would not entertain putting one in.
Correct.
Well, I'll have someone else from the audience, come on up. State your name and your address, please.
My name is Joe Mazarek, and I live 1 block away from the problem, 138 Atlantic Street. And I appreciate Jim and John working on this. And I think they've identified a solution, something we've been asking for almost a couple of years now. I invite you to our house to sit out on our gazebo, to experience the smell, which is horrendous. Not just me, all the other neighbors. Talk to Don Butler. I mean, he lives 3 blocks down from it. He can smell it way down there. There's something wrong there. Actually, the red light's actually going on right now. So there's a problem there, and we need to fix it, please. I know this is a lot of money, but let me tell you something. We have a lot of upset residents right there. So if you can do this, it'll be a godsend for us. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, have we talked to the county to see if possibly getting any help from them in this project, being that it is in the county?
You think they'd help us out some, John, money-wise?
I can't answer that. I don't know. I would have to say I don't know why they would, but they might.
I'm not opposed to this as long as we set some kind of standard so we don't have 54 more people knocking on the door, you know what I mean?
I completely agree.
Yes, sir.
We didn't talk about the sidewalks.
We tabled it to the next meeting. Because we didn't have any information on how much money we're talking about and things like that. So we tabled it to the next meeting. It will be on the next meeting on the 19th.
We gotta get to John and get some ideas what it's gonna cost to do that, how long it'll take, so forth. Thank you.
But we're not dropping the ball.
No.
Can't drop the ball.
Yeah, we're keeping it on the agenda.
It's a $600,000 project going on over there.
Right.
And we're getting pushed to the side, seems like, you know?
I don't think you get pushed aside, I really don't. I can't go along with that, because a lot of people, some in this room right now, they've really been pushed to the side. If you want to call pushing to the side, I can show you a few people sitting in that audience right now that's been working on projects for over 2 years, and they haven't got, where they need to be. But I understand what you're saying. We're going to help you. It's just, it'll take a little time. we gotta get all our ducks in a row as far as, you know, dollars, how much money we spending, that kind of thing. But we're not putting you off, I guarantee you. Anything else, John?
We gotta do something about this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, sure.
And you pretty much researched this, you know this type system works.
Yes, sir, it does.
I'll make a motion that we approve it if John can come up with a scale to help us on, the parts per million.
I'd be glad to.
Did they be in a certain, I feel for people sitting in their gazebo and on the front porch, but we can't do it for every one of them. But if it's that, if people 3 blocks away, with the people of Highland View, when they had the problem with the smell coming out, we did something to help them. I'd like to see us do something to help these folks too.
Second for discussion.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner. You made that motion? Commissioner Thursby and a second, Commissioner Ashbrook. Discussion.
I'll keep this second if you'll amend it to say that we will allocate $2,000 a year in escrow to replace those filters. I don't like being hit at one time for big lumps of money.
Good idea.
Yeah.
All right, I will amend my motion to state that we will also budget $2,000 a year for this project.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner Thursby. Second for discussion, Stan?
Yep.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
The last item I have, Mayor, is just for informational purposes. We finally received approval for everything for our portion of the CDBG, materials in hand, and we will begin our portion tomorrow morning.
All right. Good deal.
That's all I have.
Where y'all be starting at?
We're going to start at the intersection of Avenue A and Highway 98. So there'll be it will be shut down tomorrow for several hours. Just right across from Boyd's store.
All right. Is that all, John?
That's it, sir, unless there's any questions from the boards.
Anybody questions for John? Thank you, John. All right, wastewater. Larry,
Surface water.
surface, what you got?
The water plant, we passed our disinfectant byproduct sampling for the 4th quarter and also for the year, state compliance for DP. And also, Travis Burge passed his Class A state license.
All right.
Done the record.
That's not no easy deal.
That's not easy.
Yeah, not.
Very
proud of you.
And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
The clarifier work coming along?
It's proceeding. They should be about another week. It's according to the weather, how the weather is.
Now, I brought up last meeting, I'll bring it up again. I would still like to see, I know it's RFQ'd out for 2 coats. That was the bid specs. I'd still, while we have them on the ground, I would like to ask them what they would charge us for the 3rd coat. That would just 2 coats are fine, but 3 would be a lot better, and we'd be good for quite a long time. We've got them there. I'd just like to, it doesn't hurt to ask. All them, we can say yes or no to it.
What do you think, Larry?
It don't hurt to ask, yeah.
What's the story on the tank in St. Joe Beach?
They've started the demolition of the lid. They've actually got about half of it off. And once they get it off, of course, they'll start putting the new one on. So I think about another week or so.
What was the cost of that again? $50,000?
$57,000.
$57,000 for a tank lid.
It's a big lid.
It's a big lid, it is.
I hope so.
All right, Larry. Any other questions for Larry? All right, Finance Director.
I'll begin working on November's financials. They should be in your boxes tomorrow or Thursday. We haven't gotten our first big ad valorem check yet, so our cash is somewhat flat for this fiscal year, but everything else seems to be tracking fine with our current year budget. I don't have anything else unless anybody else has some questions.
Any questions for Mike? All right, thank you, Mike. Now we go to wastewater.
We took the month of November off for spraying, so it's no discharge. We're back up and running. Now we'll run right on through. Probably only take off Christmas Day. So we take off, push the pond down for a while. So we interviewed today. It's good candidates.
We had a good, heck of a choice, so I'm pretty tickled with, processes there. It's kind of, yeah, at least 3 good ones that can walk right in.
You've been shorthanded for
A year and a half or more.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, we're ready to get, the ranks filled.
Hope you will.
All right.
I'm hopeful. That's pretty much all I got for you guys, unless you got something for me.
Any questions, guys?
Thank you.
Good.
All right. City engineer.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Couple updates. Tomorrow, we're going to walk through on boat rent with the contractor, so we'll take a look at kind of where they are. They're close to finishing. There'll be some punch list items, so that'll be what we'll be going over with them tomorrow. Items they need to address to finish it out. So if you got anything, let me know. We'll be down there with staff and the contractor.
What time are you doing that walkthrough?
It's at 9.
What are we gonna do about all that cracked up concrete that's freshly poured?
It's on their list.
I mean, there's a lot of it,
Agree.
especially on the left-hand side.
That's right, I agree.
Some on the
We
right.
showed them that a month or so ago, and so it's on their list to address.
Clay, I've had several calls on that. Is that something that, some of this stuff has happened since it's been done. I don't want us to do a punch list tomorrow and in 3 months that we got another long list of concrete that the taxpayers have to build up. Or,
So-
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So from the time we close it out, we haven't closed it out, from the time we say, hey, the city's ready to accept the project, you get a 12-month warranty.
Okay, okay.
So
That
you
was
get a
my
warranty
question.
period, but this initial punch list is things that we know today.
Today,
You know,
okay.
right.
That
And
was
then
my question.
anything in the future can still be addressed under that warranty. Sure. The Long Avenue project, we got the budget request in and answered the question, so that's running through the process, with the state. It's kind of where that is. And then on the Jones Homestead, I think the city's gauging the interest from the public on who wants to sign up. So they're trying to get that word out, get as many folks lined up for that project as interested. And then just a quick update on the CDBG water line project. It's going really well. And I think by the end of December, assuming everything stays the same, that they'll probably have all the pipe in the ground. And so it's going well. It's very feasible that sometime in January they'll be done. It's going well. I haven't heard a whole lot of complaints. If y'all have, let me know, we can address them, but I really haven't heard a whole lot. It's been going pretty well.
I think
They've had good
everybody's
weather.
just tickled to have it going.
It's going.
Clay, on the Long Avenue,
Yes, sir.
how long do you envision it being before we actually start paving? Well, I had a lot of questions about that. People want to know, when you gonna pave it, when you gonna pave it? I said, well, we'll make sure we get all the stuff under and fixed first. So, you got any kind of idea, maybe?
So much of it revolves around funding.
Right.
That was the reason for the request to the state to try to get some help from them. And so, the earliest we would know anything is when they approve their budget in the spring, usually
Right.
May, June time, whenever the governor ends up signing off on it. So that would be the time we would know if they're going to help with any funding.
On this road bond paving, though, we got plenty of time to get it done.
As far as I know,
Deadline.
as far as I know, I haven't been told any different. So, depending on what the state says with their money, you'll get to make some decisions after that. So, it's probably, if everything went great, you'd start some kind of construction on Long Avenue with utilities probably next fall. And then it would be, probably 2019 sometime before you pave it. And it's realistic if you replace the sewer, if you want to keep that in part of the project. And so that's something you probably can't answer until you know where the funds are. If the funds don't come through from the state, you're going to have to decide what you want to do.
Tell them to contact your legislators.
Absolutely. Any other questions for me?
I don't think so. Thank you, Clay.
Yes, sir.
Not for you, Clay, not for you, but on the Jones Homestead Sewer, we offered that incentive to sign up. Did we get any bites on that?
About half
Put that out
what we
there?
need.
Yeah, we're only about 33, and we're trying to get to 65, so we need to do some more work and hit the
Okay.
ground, I think, and personally
Do some
go
door
out.
knocking.
Yes.
You got a great deal going for sewer out there in Jones Homestead, a great deal.
I don't know.
No
that this
people
has
live
been-
there. They want to get off the septic tank. Now's the time to do it because they're going to save a boat's load of money.
Mr.
Trying to make
Mayor,
it
I
as
was
easy as
thinking
possible.
that, maybe we should have staff reach out to all the realtors in the area. send a letter of what we're doing?
I think it's gonna be, like Mike
Incentive
said, just
to-
go door knocking.
Well, it could
We've
just
sent out
have
2
a-
letters and we've only got 33, so our next step is to knock on some doors.
Jim, do you think you could direct staff to maybe draft a letter and send to all the local realtors in our, and that way, maybe that would be an incentive to buy out there.
Bottom line is, we got a bunch of septic tanks out there, brand new septic tanks out there, and that's hurting us.
Yeah, they don't want
But I know at some point, if we don't reach that number, we've got to go back.
We do, we're gonna have to go back to DEP and tell them, okay, guys, we worked it, this is what we got, how do we make it work?
Because the other thing to keep into consideration is even if we get 33, depending on where they're at, it still may not be feasible for us to construct a portion.
All right, well, we'll just keep plugging away and see what we get. Hopefully they'll sign up. Like I say, it's a great savings right now. How much they saving?
About a little over $5,000.
Everybody hear that? You can save $5,000 to get on city sewer and get off the septic tank in Johnstown City. So if y'all know people out there that might be interested, tell them to come sign up. We need them. We need to get this project going. The city needs it. We need more revenue in that area.
They're selling lots.
But like I say, it's a great deal. Code enforcement, everybody's getting their reports from Richie. Yep. We got him working Saturdays. He's out there on Saturdays, about every other Saturday now he's working. Boat ramp stuff and things like that. So, if you have any problems, let me know. All right, City Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor.
Come on up, Chief.
I don't have anything on the agenda. If you guys have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Anything for the chief?
Good.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, Miss City Clerk.
Just wanted to remind you, we have our Christmas parade Saturday. Ask you to participate. You'll need to be in line by 5 o'clock. Judging will begin then. Parade starts at 6. Probably have a few more entrants than last year. So I think it's going to be a good parade. Looks like we're going to have some chilly weather to go with it.
Hopefully not raining.
Hopefully not raining.
Miss Charlotte, can we throw candy this year, or do we have to hand it out still?
You're not supposed to throw it because of liability issues. If you would hand it out, please.
Are you gonna call us with our lineup?
Yes, sir. We've had more entry forms come in even today, so we're having to go back and plug and figure out where we're putting them. But yes, sir, before Friday, I'll have it for you.
All right. Anything else from Miss Charlotte, anybody?
I know it takes a lot, Miss Charlotte, to put this parade together, and you always do a good job on. Thank you for that.
Thank you. It's worth it for our community. So many of us remember growing up and going to the Christmas parade.
Absolutely.
We want others to enjoy it like we remember it.
Exactly.
Thank you. You do a great job.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, citizens to be heard. Anyone in the audience wish to speak tonight, come on up. Well, I got this one first. Ms. Lisa, I got. You come on, we'll get you next. Huh?
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lisa Matthews, 312 Avenue F. And I have had some citizens come to me complaining about the speeding on Broad Street. And it's been posted that the speed limit is 15 miles an hour and they're not adhering to the speed limit. And at one, they were told that they were gonna have policemen come and sit there, and until this day, they have not seen any police officers sitting there on Broad Street trying to catch the speeders. So they were wondering what else can they do, and one of the suggestions was speed bumps. But that was their suggestion, so.
Right. Chief, do you know anything about it?
I know we've got a couple complaints from Commissioner Sandy Quinn. Somebody was talking to him about it, and we tried.
See if we can get some police set up over there sometime just to slow it down every now and then.
And that might slow them down. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
About that restaurant, the sidewalks and all that kind of good stuff. You said I'm not getting pushed aside of none of that kind of good stuff, but I'm trying to open my doors too.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And what would it take if I decide, can I do it? If like you said, some of the people been pushed aside for like 2 years, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not trying to get pushed aside for 2 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If we gotta spend we already done spent our money anyway, put $600,000 in this project, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then we're trying to do more things on the north side. I don't see nobody else doing a whole lot over there, and we spending our money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm trying to get my doors open, you know what I'm saying? And all we asking is just the sidewalks.
What is the importance of the sidewalks? Explain that to us.
What is?
Will it stop you from opening your restaurant if you don't have them? I'm just asking hypothetical
Will it stop?
questions.
I'm not just throwing up anything over there. My building is nicer than anything on Reed Avenue.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You know what I'm saying? And why not? I'm trying to. This thing is going to be big. You know what I'm saying? I'm adding to the community. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Want to put some more houses and all that. Going to put some more houses over there on the north side and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And when I need something done, I got to go through this right here. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a process and all that kind of stuff, but guess what? This is our hard-earned money. You know what I'm saying? That we're sticking over there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And somebody else come in the same day I come in, and they project is getting done. You know what I'm saying? I know it takes a little bit longer for things to happen and all that kind of stuff. I know it's a process and all that kind of stuff, but guess what? And I'm not trying to step on nobody's toes and none of that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I want my doors open. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's gonna make a difference. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, if I open my doors, look at the sidewalks. You know, I mean, it's just pitiful. You know what I'm saying?
Jim, have you and John looked at that together? I know you and Bill Kennedy looked at it. Have you
Yes,
had-
we did go take a look at it.
John, if you know how many feet, about how long it take to do it, anything like that, any kind of cost estimates?
I can certainly get one. Now, I need some sort of direction on the scope of work. I understand there's the front,
Yeah.
and Stan, several times we've met.
Yeah, we did.
He's expressed interest in going up the side.
Yes.
So I need someone to tell me some direction as to what you want me to look at.
When the immediate thing, Stan, would be the front, would that be more the immediate request, I guess you would say?
Yes. The front, yes.
The front.
For sure. The front.
Could you get us an estimate on the front?
Yes, sir.
And maybe put it in our box, and then maybe our next meeting we'll be ready to go.
I definitely would appreciate that, because
We'd be ready to go.
it's like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Stan. I want to put this out there, though, because, this was mentioned several times before when you and I met with Bill, scheduling. We talked about that.
Yes.
With what we have going on with the underground utilities, the water, the CDBG, scheduling is still a question mark for us. I know you're wanting to get open, but we're looking right now well into January at some point before we can even begin. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that.
How many feet are we talking about across the front? Stan?
75?
Yeah, something like that. That's in there. Yeah.
Do you think that,
If he could do it himself, get an approved contractor, I guess, do it himself, and bring an estimate to us.
I mean, certainly he could.
Bring an estimate to us, and then we could vote to reimburse him. We could vote to reimburse him.
that's what I was getting at, Commissioner Bezette.
The PSJ,
You know, we work so hard, and then we go out.
DRA has no money for this project. This is gonna be city only.
Well, this was,
Now,
well, that's-
DRA
it's a city.
has no money
That's what
for
we got
that
here,
area.
take from the board.
We've spent it
Initially,
all.
it was talking about DRA money is where we would go.
Yeah, we spent all that money on the planning thing for North St. Joe.
Stan, is that something?
For this fiscal year?
Yeah.
To get this right.
They never spent last year's.
It's the front door. Front door. And you gonna tell me if any place on Reed Avenue, front door look like my front door, but look at the building. You ain't gonna find it nicer than what we got. But what I'm saying is, it's compatible, you know what I'm saying? So that front door, come and take a look at the front door and tell me, you know.
Guys, let's give Stan some direction on what we would like to see. You know, would you say 75 foot of sidewalk across the front and bring us back up?
I'd rather see John bring us a city estimate on the job, bring it to us, and then we could go forward from there. If we want to let Stan, you know, subcontract it out or whatever, and we reimburse him up to that amount that John estimates, or, you know, something like that. Be a way to get it done quicker, as long as we don't spend any more than we normally would doing it ourselves.
And you would. If we did it ourselves, it's just the price of material.
Yeah.
Materials versus labor,
It's,
so that's
you know,
what you have.
yeah. If we're just talking about the front, rough numbers, if we're talking, you know, $1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah.
That's all we talking about?
If we're just, now, nothing else that we discussed with benches and trees and all this other stuff.
You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna beautify. I'm talking about how you get me at this right here. You're just gonna put the concrete out there, and you're not gonna, you got trees downtown now. You got,
I understand, Stan, but when we were talking about this originally, this was a PSJRA project.
Yes.
Now we're talking about a city project with sidewalks.
Yes.
So it's already been determined the budget money's not there from the PSJRA, so that money's not there.
So I'm doing all this in the community, trying to bring back on the north side, make our side look compatible like this side of town. You know what I'm saying?
I understand, and the city didn't do that downtown, the PSJRA did. So that's the two different areas we're talking about.
And when the last time we done something down there? What I'm saying is, when was the last time we done something down on North Port St. Joe?
Well, it's a few years ago.
Fix all that drainage problem right around your building.
Well, in several
How
years
much
ago.
money we spend there?
Several years ago.
Well, your building now, it used to be corner covered.
Yes.
Several years ago, the PSJRA did a sidewalk program down MLK. This is one of the sections of two that weren't completed because of structural issues.
It wasn't completed. And, okay, so we really revamp our building according to, that way we can go ahead on and get that part fixed by where y'all can continue fixing that part around the building.
Well, y'all isn't me, it's the
Well,
PSJRA.
well, you know what I'm saying? And all we asking you to do is, we gonna do our part. We done our part, and we want you to do your part. I mean, not you.
I understand.
I got,
And
you know
I'm
what I'm
being
saying?
asked
And
for
all we trying to do is beautify what we got. If you wanna see more added on, all we asking you to do is just do your part, and we can do our part. We don't ask for no loans, we don't ask for nothing.
I will do whatever this board instructs me to do, Stan.
That's right.
Mayor, can we get John to bring that back to us, the sidewalk?
Sure.
And then we can discuss the other items with the PSJRA.
Right.
Beautification, all that, but you can open once we get that sidewalk finished.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Please
Okay,
help me come
okay.
with something.
And we'll work,
Yes.
as time goes on, you know, we can beautify. Is that all right?
Stan, when you plan to open?
Well, as soon as I get these sidewalks and all that kind of good stuff.
You ready with everything else? Pretty much?
Well, pretty much, you know, we still, you know, it's like, my brother's like, when are we gonna get the sidewalks done, man? You know, why put all this, we already spending our money anyway, why put all this in there and they don't wanna really help us? You know what I'm saying?
Can we coordinate your fire protection with the sidewalks? We haven't done that.
I can't sleep tonight, man.
No, I'm just, because we were gonna remove the sidewalks in
Yes.
one section with the meters and all that, so let's coordinate that, at least.
When you want to see me?
Before we pour it.
Okay, when you want to see me out there? We need to tear it up out there.
I've been waiting on you to say, this is what we're gonna do.
Me?
Yes, sir. On the
Tomorrow,
fire
today,
protection. No, the fire protection.
The fire protection,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
That's another end, that's another end down there.
Well, that's the part of the section we're gonna rip out and report.
Yeah, that section, but I'm talking about the section in front of the restaurant. Well, we still gotta do the
It's all
other thing before,
contiguous,
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Right,
But
right,
it's
right.
totally two different projects, though. Yeah, it is.
No, it's gonna be all poured. We have to remove that. So let's just, you and I get together on that.
Yeah, why don't we do that, Stan? You get with him and y'all get us something, bring it back to us at the next meeting and we'll try to get it going. How about that?
Something.
Thank you. Someone else? Come on up.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. I'll be brief.
Name and address.
Yes, sir. My name's Steve Womack. I'm a full-time resident of Port St. Joe. I live on 19th Street, 302 19th Street. Specifically, my questions and/or comments refer specifically to the 19th Street Bridge proposal. I don't know the gentleman, Stan, but he brings up a lot of great points in reference to the notes that I had made earlier. And really, you know, a golf cart bridge benefits so few people right there in that location, as opposed to spending that money in different parts of town on different projects that benefit so many more people. I don't know what the percentage of population of people that live in town that have the luxury of owning a golf cart, but it is not a primary means of transportation. Those roads where Palm goes on a one-way and then stops at the creek right there at Patton Bayou. My next door neighbor, Mr. James Harrison, in his 80s, full-time, long-time resident, he says, you guys have had 3 bridges up there. And the money seems to always be found to build a bridge, but never to maintain the bridge. And the last one was a disaster. My wife and I, we live right there. We saw the last bridge. It was condemned. Some people put some tape on it. That tape went away. People used it. It was dangerous. The golf cart crossing that you are proposing to put there may be even more dangerous because of the road traffic on 19th Street right there, and there's the curves. So you have absolutely no visibility. So as people, and they always obey the law, correct? In cars and in those golf carts, when they converge right there at that area, you have limited visibility in both directions, and you have high speeds, higher than the listed speeds. There's no signs up, so people just go as fast as they want. You're gonna have a problem right there. You put up stop signs, well, we already know how people pay attention to the stop signs. The safety that you addressed, you have to come off of Palm if you're going to the north anyways, because Palm terminates down there by the church and by those duplexes right there. So you can channel your way up and down Palm, but you have to come off Palm anyways. So the amount of money that you're going to spend for somebody in a golf cart to go half a block, 100 feet, and back over, that money could be so much better spent somewhere else. Because I live right there at that very point where that golf cart crossing would be, would probably benefit the most. So, you know, one would think that I would be here prescribing or saying, build it, I'll buy a golf cart. But for the larger group, for the town, we've been coming to these meetings for 2 years, and there's not a meeting where you gentlemen don't describe how short of money you have and how much you need money. There's no reason in the world to spend money on that golf cart crossing whatsoever.
I think
In my opinion.
I think you got a safety point issue. I agree with that.
I never thought we was
I
gonna
hadn't
have a
thought
golf
about
cart crossing. I thought it was just gonna be for people to cross.
Well, that's where it started, but that's not where it's going.
I don't think it's gonna wind up being a golf cart crossing, I really don't. In my
But,
opinion.
yes, sir, but if certain people, the people that are calling you, are there anyone else here that is asking?
The ones I've spoke to just want the bridge crossing back.
Yes, sir. Well, then,
It doesn't have to be.
with your guidance in public, you could direct the staff to say no golf cart crossing and only a footbridge, but I haven't heard that occur either. The gentlemen that were out there measuring, when I talked to, I asked them what they were doing. They did not say they were building a footbridge. So guidance, filtering down to whoever's actually doing things, that's a communication issue. So perhaps in public. Again, my problem sometimes is the process. Again, I've been coming to these meetings pretty regularly for a couple years. Often I hear people up here saying, well, I'm getting calls. I would suggest that you call those people back and tell them to be at the next meeting in public so their voice can be heard and we can see who the people are that are actually asking for this. Because I'm willing to stand up here in public and provide my opinion, whether it's wanted or otherwise, and say in public instead of on private. Finally, I have a solution for the board in regards to Mr. Thursby. Sir, simply resign and we can get the lawyers all out of this. If the public sees that you are fit to represent them, then they will re-elect you when you pursue re-election on the next election. Until then, your personal behavior and your personal conduct has done nothing but interfere with the business of Port St. Joe. You should resign immediately. And if the people want you back, they'll elect you back. Until then, you've got to go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else in the public wish to speak? All right. Yes. Come on up.
I just wonder if we can get the speed limit in Garrison down here where I live, changed from 65 to 60.
So they're running 60?
I tell you, sometimes I'm one of those. And it's getting really ridiculous.
And it's what, 35? What it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
Chief? Another area. All right, we'll look into it, yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else in the audience? Anyone else? All right. Let's go to you, Commissioner. Was it? You have anything?
Mayor, my train's already left the station tonight.
It's broke down today.
Commissioner Lowry.
I don't have anything tonight.
I'm on meetings out there. I'm good.
All right. Commissioner Thursby.
Yeah, I just, I never write anything out that I want to say, but I wrote this out just to read to the public, and I've been told by my family, my friends, that sometimes I ramble, and other people have their opinions, and I'm just going to read this, and to some it'll be perceived the right way, and to some people it won't, but all I can do is read what's on my heart and what I have to say. First thing I want to say, guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry to my fellow commissioners for the embarrassment, trouble, and the waste of time I have brought to this commission. I'm sorry to all you residents, present, not present today, for my poor judgment and my improper conduct, which occurred several weeks ago after leaving this very place. Most of all, I'm sorry for the humiliation and the pain that I've caused my wonderful wife of 25 years, my parents, and all of my children. They especially did not deserve this, and I want to publicly ask for forgiveness to accept my apology. Throughout my life, I have battled with demons from time to time. Most of this caused by poor decisions I have made, but some things are totally beyond my control. Several weeks ago, during a personal low point in my life, I consumed alcohol that combined with my cancer medication and led to my misconduct and the subsequent arrest of myself. I should have known better, and I take full responsibility for my actions. To my fellow commissioners and my family who have been so supportive, I ask for your forgiveness for this sinful act I committed. To my many friends, voters, and supporters who have stuck by me and offered their continued support, thank you for this, even though I may not deserve it. To those of you who have not supported me and have not voted for me, I am sure I have reinforced the negative opinion you may have had towards me. I would especially ask for your forgiveness and understanding. You may rest assured that I will spend the rest of my life, public and private, to change your opinion of me. In the past, On many occasions, I have been judgmental of other people, especially those who have disagreed with me. I am respectfully asking you not to make the same mistake I have made by passing judgment on me because of my improper conduct. I appear before you as an imperfect man, but also a man with a renewed desire to be the husband, the father, Christian, the friend, and the commissioner that I should have been all along. Thank you.
I myself will just tally on the end of that and say that people make mistakes all the time in life. Some mistakes that we regret. And I understand what the gentleman is saying a while ago, is resign and let the people vote you back in. I say let the people vote you out. This man has run 3 different races in this city. First time he won overwhelming. Second time he did not even have an opponent. And I tend to say the third time, if it hadn't been for certain individuals pushing somebody to run, he would not have had an opponent, but he beat that one 2-1. So I say let the people decide. When his turn comes up next time, vote him out. If you so want to vote him out, vote him out. But I think the people need to make that decision. The whole city, not just a few people. And as I say again, we all make mistakes in life, and I don't condone anything that Mr. Thursby has done at all. But I do say he's a human being, and as human beings, we make mistakes. And where would we be if Jesus did not give us a second chance? He gives us more than a second chance. So I just ask that the citizens of this city show some Christian among their forces. And let's show love on people instead of hate on people. And with that being said, I have nothing else to say. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we'll adjourn.